Arguing and interruptions are nothing new in politics. In fact, in every televised presidential debate, the candidates have never been able to respect each other's 2 minutes. What sets this election apart is not only the candidates' opposite viewpoints, but their opposite genders. Donald Trump interrupted Hillary Clinton a staggering 55 times to her 11 times. I'd like to use 3 viewpoints to investigate the gender differences. First, the dominance approach, and then the difference approach, and finally the performative gender approach. Based on the footage I've looked at, I believe that the performative gender approach is a more adequate description of what was going on in the debates. First, we have Robin Lakoff's The Woman. In this book, she says that the way women speak make them subordinate to men. Some characteristics of women's speech are hedging, upspeak, adjectives, the use of so to emphasize what they are saying, hypercorrect form, and there's more. But when it comes to Hillary Clinton, she did not use the features too many times. She did have some hedging with and she did use very correct English. But that was all that stood out to me. Surprisingly, Trump used the features a lot. He liked to use so, hedging, and empty adjectives. And his favorite empty adjective was tremendous.
Tremendously from 30 tremendous numbers of new jobs, but to create tremendous jobs, they're going to.
For the difference approach, we have Deborah Tannen's book, You Just Don't Understand. In this book, she explains that men and women grow up in same-sex playgroups, therefore they grow up in different cultures, with their own unique styles of communication. This can cause problems for adults. In the debate, both Trump and Hillary oriented to their gendered ways of speaking. Hillary Clinton did not interrupt as much. She respected turn-taking, and this could be seen as more cooperative. When she was interrupted, she would step down and allow Trump to finish.
Now you're just starting to think of solutions.
Well, actually,
I will bring back jobs. You can't bring back jobs.
Well, actually,
gold standard.
I hope
you called it the gold standard of trade deals. You said it's the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you approved one of the biggest tax cuts in history. You are going to approve one of the biggest tax increases in history.
Trump, on the other hand, was using his speech to be hierarchical and competitive. When he interrupted, he would try to take the stage from Hillary. He used his tone of voice and his volume to assert his dominance on stage.
I just finished. I think I should. You go to her website and you take a look at her website about not letting our companies bring their money back into their country.
This is Secretary Clinton's 2 minutes, please.
It could be that these differences were the cause of the interruptions. According to Tannen, these styles are just a part of the cultures of the two genders. This could be true. Maybe Trump didn't mean to be a brute. Maybe that was just his way of communicating. Tannen carries the two-culture model further in her 2012 article. She claims that miscommunications happen in any interactions between two separate cultures. She talked about the debate between Obama and Romney. According to the performative gender approach, gender is something that we do, it is not something that we have. People mold themselves to fit the norm of society, and because of that, it becomes the norm of society. This is called a dual direction of fit. However, these norms are not set in stone. Deborah Cameron talks about this in her article, Performing Gender Identity. In this article, she discusses how a group of young men can switch from very masculine features to very feminine features under certain conditions. I believe the same to be true for Hillary Clinton. She switched to masculine forms to make herself seem more presidential. But at the same time, when she was more presidential, she was ridiculed. She was called ruthless and pathologically ambitious. Hillary was in the ultimate double bind. Deborah Tannen mentions the double bind in her recent article, Our Impossible Expectations for Hillary Clinton and All Women in Authority. She had to walk the line between feminine, but not too feminine.
This is Secretary Clinton's 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, well, let's start the clock again, Lester. Well, Donald, I know you live in your own reality, but that is...
In these clips, you see Hillary Clinton using sarcasm, insults, and very direct forms of speech. This is not characteristic of women's speech. As for Trump, you could say he was performing as well. He was using insults, and he was not only interrupting the woman in the room, he was interrupting the man. Trump had to maintain the image that he had created on his campaign. The man who was not afraid to say what needed to be said, who was not politically correct, and who wasn't afraid to insult people. In other words, the extreme masculine. I do believe that gender played a huge role in the debates and maybe even the election. The performative gender approach seems to be the most accurate description of what was really happening.